Another week of basketball has come and gone. Allow me to give you a little recap to everything that happened this week in the NBA. And y'all know what that means. It means we're back on the spreadsheet. I always love pulling up this spreadsheet. I think it's a really cool way to keep myself centered on like everything that's happening in the NBA. I bounce between like college basketball and the NBA so much, not necessarily because I want to, but because business says that I have to. But I think it's really cool to kind of come back here, center ourselves in some of the top storylines, some of the stats and everything, who's performing. We're going to take a look at like who are our leaders this week, who are our leaders throughout the NBA. At this point, we've got some qualifiers on it. I think it really gets down into the nitty-gritty of things. But without further ado, let's recap everything that happened this week, starting off with some of our key performers. First person I want to talk about this week is Nikola Jokic, the presumable MVP at this point. And can we just say we need to get Jokic some help? The team isn't great in terms of standings right now. It's not bad, but it's not great. You look at Jokic from this past week, 37 points per game, and there was a 56-pointer in there, 9 assists, 15 rebounds. That was in 4 games this week. He had 2.5 steals per game, half a block, shot 54% from the field, 42% from 3. He was a positive for the team overall. And while they did lose to the Wizards this week, which is a rather tough pill to swallow. Jordan Poole went nuts in that game. But anyway, Jokic went nuts in that game as well. We got to get Jokic some help, man. We were worried that this team was going to suffer this season. They've been kind of without Aaron Gordon for some parts. He's like coming off the bench right now, kind of trying to get his feet back under him or something. But this team is, they're struggling to really support him, right? Like even Jamal Murray, like if we just go and take a look at his numbers for the season, like efficiency's been a struggle for him, and I feel like, I don't know, like it still seems like he's like a little bit injured or something when watching him. I'm a big fan of Jamal Murray and I like his game a lot, but it just feels like they haven't quite been on the same page this whole season. And look, just having to play with some of the younger guys that they have, like that does throw things off a rhythm to some extent. You look at Michael Porter Jr., and I know that some Nuggets fans like just can't wait to get rid of Michael Porter Jr., but you kind of need this guy. Like I know on-ball defense, I know you watch him play on-ball defense and he's clunky and everything, and you guys see that he doesn't like dive on the ground and stuff like that. I'm going to tell you, I almost promise you the coaching staff tells him he can't do that because of all of his injury history and everything, but this guy's a really good off-ball defender. He is an elite scorer. At the end of the day, he plays really well off Jokic. You want this guy on your team. You just do. I know he's expensive, and I know you think you want other things. I promise you, you don't. But Jokic has been awesome this season. I just want to highlight him as just like can we find a way to get him some help? If you guys want me to do a video this week, a kind of retooling the roster video, if you will, where we look to try to see what moves we can even rationally make with this team, because it is really hard, and I guarantee you I'll be annoyed trying to do it, then let me know, and maybe we'll do it. But anyway, let's move on to the next person. Next person I want to give a little bit of credit to is Damian Lillard here. In 3 games this week, Damian Lillard, about 28 points per game, 5 assists, 4 rebounds, shot 51, almost 52% from the field, 44% from 3. Dude's been lighting it up. Him and Giannis this whole season have been absolutely phenomenal. If you go and look at Damian Lillard's stats for the season, he's above the league average in 3. The field goal percentage itself is off, but I'm noticing that amongst all-star players right now. And I'm not saying like all-star players, all like star players. So I don't know, like for whatever reason, like general efficiency is just kind of down right now, and I can't quite put my finger on why that is. If you guys have any theories, like come and let me know. Like you can look up like Jason Tatum, like his isn't very good. Pull up like Jaylen Brown, his isn't very good. I haven't even looked at like a Jalen Brunson, but he's a guy that you would expect a little bit higher from, and even his isn't as high as like what it traditionally is. So I don't know. It's just something that I've noticed. But anyway, him and Giannis have been awesome this season. We know that they've been kind of carrying the team and kind of have brought them back into the playoff picture. I know there's a lot of rumors circulating and stuff like that, like, oh, what does this team do? Like, how do they make some moves? I think there are some moves to make, and I think that they probably will try to execute on those. But we do still have concerns about this team, but it's not in these two. These two are playing well off each other, playing in the pick and roll a lot more, which, thank God, I don't know why that wasn't happening last year, but just like little bits like that, it's been awesome. Great to see Dame kind of still playing with that pace and everything, still getting up and down the court, attacking the basket with a lot of ferocity. So yeah, really want to give a shout out to Lillard. He's been awesome this season. Next person I want to highlight is Cade Cunningham. I love seeing Cade Cunningham play well, man. Like himself, like I know that the Pistons are still kind of like bleh or whatever, and I still think they could be better than what they are. I think that their lineup is mismanaged. You guys hear me say it in every video. It's really bothering me. I don't know what is the name of him, the Bickerstaff or whatever. I don't know what he's doing with this roster. I can't quite figure it out whatsoever. But it is what it is. Cade is having an amazing season. This week alone in 3 games, 26 points, almost 12 assists a game, 8 rebounds, shooting crazy efficient from the field. We can take a look at Cade's numbers overall this year, and like he's another guy, not so great from the field, maybe settling for a few too many mid-rangers. Maybe teams are just playing a lot more drop coverage and people aren't really adjusting to it yet or something. I don't know. I haven't really noticed that, so maybe someone has some numbers or something that I could look at, but overall, he's been good from 3 this year, and that's awesome, right? As we continue to try and find ways to put talent around this guy, who's one of the most talented and like smartest players we have in the NBA right now. I want to see him get some success, man. I really, really do. This guy is such an incredible basketball player. I think if you were to ask a lot of NBA players, which I've asked a decent amount of them, they're like, what do you think of Cade Cunningham? They're like, he's so tough. Like, he's so like hard to guard. He's so smart. He's so strong. Like, he's just in Detroit, and that's unfortunate, but Cade Cunningham's been awesome. I want to give a shout out to a guy you guys know I'll always highlight is Malik Beasley, who they just don't start, and they still play like Tim Hardaway Jr. more minutes than him, yet he's getting you like 16 points on 41% shooting. What's Tim Hardaway getting you this year? League average threes, almost 10 points per game, which is actually better than I would have thought. But looking at Malik Beasley, not Malik Monk, I want Beasley back up here. But like, it's a night and day. It's a +5, just like swap difference in and of itself. And that can win you some games because Detroit's been pretty close in some of these. You got guys like Asar Thompson that are back now, and they've kind of been slowly ramping him back up. He had like one good game or something this week, but going to take a little bit to kind of get him back into things. We hope that he's going to be okay long term, but you got guys like Tobias Harrison struggling like a little bit more this season, which is kind of a surprise to me to some extent, but I don't know. I just feel like this team has been mismanaged a little bit, like not even just from like a front office point of view, but just from a roster standpoint. So I don't know. I just feel like they could be better, but at least they got Jaden Ivey, who's been interesting this season. It's been cool to see him develop. Like, we do have a talent here. I still don't know how great it works having these two on the court together. I'd have to look at some actual like lineup numbers for that, and you know what, maybe I will just really quick. Let me just pull up the Pistons, and I like to do this stuff live and in person with you guys just so that you can kind of see as well how I would go about researching some of that stuff. It's not that hard to do like this stuff. So let's just go to lineup data here for the Pistons this season, and let's just go to like points right here. Let's go to like a 2-man combo between Cunningham and Ivy. So Cunningham's in the top here. Malik Beasley and Cunningham is the number 1 with substantial minutes behind it. Just play the two, damn it. Just play the two. We don't see Cunningham, but Beasley's in the top 4 of the combos. Just, oh my God, it's freaking obvious. Just play him. It's so obvious. Okay, we have Cunningham and Ivy, which has actually been a negative for them overall this season. It's not as bad though, so like, that's not enough of a difference for me to say it's not possible. I mean, looking at just like the 3-point percentages and stuff, funny enough, they actually increase in 3-point percentage when they're on the court. That's probably just because at least both of them can like attack and things like that and create some sort of, how should I put it, like pressure on teams. So that's how I'm gonna attribute it. But overall, not a positive at this very moment. But anyway, yeah, shout out Cade Cunningham. Last one, I'm actually gonna talk about my Bulls a little bit. Nikola Vucevic is my last highlight of the week here. In this week, 24 points per game, 3 assists, whatever, 9 rebounds, shot 66% from the field over 3 games and 50% from 3. I'm gonna say something here, y'all. Nikola Vucevic, probably an all-star player this year, in all honesty. Taking a look at his stats for this season, 21 points per game, again, 3.3 assists, 10 rebounds, like defensively, yeah, not that great, but look at the efficiency, like almost 60% from the field, almost 50% from 3. He's only a -2 for where the Bulls are at on things. Like, this is a guy you should get a pretty something for in terms of like trade value and stuff like that. Trade him to a good team, send him over to Memphis or something like that. Let him play off of like Ja Morant and stuff like that. They've got enough good defensive players around him to where he can probably still be a solid defensive player. Like, he's not going to ever be a rim protector or anything like that, but the shooting is back, like the offense is back. He's pretty hard to stop for how skilled he is. So I think he could be a really good contributing factor on some teams. His contract's not that bad, but yeah, no, I think Vucevic is an all-star player this year. Like, I think that he's that good. I mean, you take a look at some of the other guys on his team too, and like, obviously, Zach LaVine's helping take a lot of pressure off him for how good he's been offensively this year. Zach LaVine actually a net neutral for the team, which says something in and of itself. I know if you look at like his defensive numbers, he still is bad this season, but, is what it is. I think he can get back to at least average in terms of defense, if not above average. And having guys like Josh Giddey help a lot too, that just like run the team and everything. I know Josh isn't going to be like an elite scorer or anything like that, and I still think the team is not very conducive to a guy that he would like to be. Like, him and Vucevic are not two guys that should probably play off each other a ton. It doesn't make a ton of basketball sense to me. So I don't know. I'd just be curious to see Vucevic on a new team, see him get a little bit more of a spotlight or anything. But anyway, those are kind of the guys I wanted to highlight this week. All right, looking around the rest of the association, let's take a look at some of our stat leaders. I changed the games to qualify to 10, so you have to play in at least 10 games. Shots to qualify, you need to take at least 5 field goal attempts and at least three threes to qualify for the field goal. And 3-point percentage leaders, the assists per game, still Trae Young. He's been dishing it even more than he's been shooting it this year. I've been seeing people be like, oh, Trae Young looks different this year and everything. I'll say, like, just like last year, he seems to be taking defense a lot more seriously and stuff. And honestly, that's not even my problem. Like, I need to see a change in his offensive game. I know that sounds crazy for how good Trae Young is. Like, just taking a look at Trae for this season, 21 points per game, 12 assists. Like, those are great numbers, right? The field goal percentage has been garbage this year. He looks a step slow this season. Does anyone else think he might be hurt or something like that? I don't know. He just looks like he's not quite moving like he normally does, and so I'm trying to give him the benefit of the doubt for that stuff. But it's just the way he's playing offense. It's not going to help you win basketball games in the playoffs. It's just not. We need him doing more things like without the basketball. You just do. Like, we need to get him more on some Curry shit or something in order to do it. So I don't know. Jokic, obviously, he's like tops in like everything. Cade Cunningham is at 9.5 per game right now, which is nuts. LeBron is up there. He's doing everything he can for the Lakers right now. And Ja Morant, who is evolving as a player, it seems like, which is kind of cool to see. Rebounds per game, Jokic, amazing. Karl-Anthony Towns, that's awesome. Sabonis, Zubats, and Giannis, all guys we expect to see there. Steals per game, Dyson Daniels, nobody seems to be able to catch him. Tyrese Maxey, Jalen Williams, Tari Eason, Paul George. Shout out Paul George. I can't believe he qualified for this. He's played in 10 games this year. Fair enough. Blocks, nobody's going to catch Wemby. Walker Kessler, who a lot of people just think that this guy's available for the Jazz, and like, I don't know why the Jazz would trade this guy. He's a good young basketball player, so probably just keep him. Brook Lopez having a good defensive season. Donovan Clingan, shout out the rookie, the only rookie to like find himself in any of these, I believe. Yeah, I believe so. So shout out to Donovan Clingan. They need to play him more. They need to trade those centers in Portland. We'll talk about it later. Miles Turner, as always. And then field goal percentage, we've got Daniel Gafford and Derek Lively, right? Walker Kessler again, Jared Allen, Jalen Duren. 3-point percentage leaders, Taurean Prince, who's been pretty solid for the Bucks this year. I think he's been a nice contributing factor to like some of their more recent success, like just the efficiency and being able to be a solid like 3-and-D guy. We'll absolutely take that from him. Aaron Gordon is there for 3-point percentage? Really? Let me take a look at this really quick. Okay, Aaron, when did this happen? Did anyone else see? This is what I'm saying. I like doing these videos. I hadn't peeped that Aaron Gordon, like, I read every box score every night, right? And I try to take notes of things, right? And trends that I'm seeing. I didn't notice Aaron Gordon shooting better from 3. That was a big thing that we said coming into this season that he's going to need to be better at. So, hey, oh, he's literally at 10 games, so that's fair. How many was Paul George at? Was he also at like 10? He's at 11. Okay, fair enough. So that's how they qualified, but fair enough. Norman Powell's been super efficient. There's Jokic again. If I pull up Jokic here, it'll highlight everything that he qualifies for. So yeah, he's assists. I mean, I would have, if I had points per game on here for the season, he would be on there as well. Rebounds, threes, that's crazy. And then Ty Jerome, who is not getting as many minutes now. Again, Ty Jerome and Buddy Hield not getting enough basketball minutes. Put them on the court more, people. Not that complicated, but Cleveland's winning games, so I can't criticize them too much. The Warriors are falling off a little bit, so is what it is. But yeah, those are stat leaders. Let's go talk about news and highlights. First one to talk about here, Ja Morant doesn't want to dunk the basketball anymore. What's kind of going on with Ja Morant? Let's pull up Ja Morant for the season right now. Ja Morant not shooting well from 3 still, but that's okay. The game is evolving, right? 21 points, but that 8.5 assists. We see him up here in the top leaders for assists right now, which is really, really cool. But, he's been hurt a little bit, right? Efficiency's taken a hit because of that. The team certainly seems better when he's on the court regardless. And, I mean, just because he can put so much pressure on a team, right? But Ja was saying, hey, I don't want to dunk the basketball anymore. I don't want to risk the injuries or anything. And look, I'm not, you guys know this, I'm not a doctor. I don't know the answer to that question completely. And I haven't, asked any trainers about that. I probably should. I kind of just haven't cared enough to do so because I think it's weird. But he's like, well, yeah, I don't want to pull off some of these crazy dunks anymore. And I want to try to preserve my body because the best ability is availability, right? Which Cool, fair enough. And we saw in a game last night, he had a breakaway opportunity and he just jumped really high and laid it up. And I was kind of like, oh, okay, fair enough. I don't know, like, if it makes that big of a difference. I know, like, if he's trying to jump over people at all times, like, that just has to increase your risk of injury, right? Because, like, someone knocks you out of the sky, that's the scariest playing basketball, right? Shit like that, but I don't know, just like easy plays and stuff, at least in my mind, as someone that has dunked a few basketballs in his day, I always say, hey, 2 hands for safety. You go up, you hang on the rim for a second. I got teed up in high school a bit for that, but it was what it was because high school players are stupid and they remain under you when you're about to dunk, so just get out of the freaking way. But then I come off the rim a little bit more gently, so that's just me. I know that not everyone is going to be that way, but I don't see why it's any different than a layup. So I don't know. And I mean, I didn't have Ja Morant's ability to just jump over people. So I don't know. I don't know what to do with that at the end of the day. So we'll see. But we're not done talking about Ja Morant in this one. Unfortunate news here. And so I'm going to pull some stuff up here. Where's Woj? Yeah, so Woj has prostate cancer, unfortunately, which is really, really sad. So that's part of the reason why he stepped away and everything from like his news and everything, why he's working on his school. He wanted to prioritize his health a little bit more. And I just kind of wanted to say, like, this is a brave thing for him to come out and do. Like, you should get yourself screened if you don't. It's an important thing for adult males, especially, to go and do this stuff, right? So I just think it's important to note and hope Woj is doing okay, man. That's a tough thing to go through. If anybody in your life has gone through like some sort of cancer or something like that, thoughts with you, right? Thoughts with you. Talking more about like injuries and stuff like that, trying to have a little bit of a lighter note. Chris Middleton is back. Hasn't been pretty so far. It's been 3 games, but Chris Middleton, obviously a big part to the Milwaukee Bucks, right? One of the more unguardable players in basketball that we've seen over the past couple years. Again, he's just coming back from like major like injuries and stuff like that, so we'll give him some time to kind of get his feet back under him. But what does this mean for the Milwaukee Bucks? Because I've started to have the thought like, hey, this team probably can win without a Chris Middleton, and maybe you don't want the risk of it. Is there a way that you move a Chris Middleton or something and go get somebody else? I don't know. Would you actually want to do that, or would you rather just be like, hey, I've won a championship with this guy before. Let me try to see if he's going to get healthy again. So I don't know. I'm curious to hear your guys' thoughts on Chris Middleton, but he's back, and we're happy that he's back. I love watching Chris Middleton play. He's dope, man. He's dope. All right, y'all. We got some highlights to talk about. Let's talk about Ice Trey a little bit here. Respace, overtime, down 1 for 3. Oh boy, Ice Trey, man. That's tough. DeAndre Hunter was having a crazy game. I love the little hawk screech whenever they hit the 3. He said, brrr. Look, I talk about how I don't always like Trae Young's game, but dude is a bad motherfucker. And then, all right, then we're going to go for it. Get it to Bron. That's a crazy shot. Would have been cool, but no. Trae Young, get it. Trae Young is cold, man. Dude is cold. Shout out Trae, man. All right, next thing for you guys. We're just going to wait for a second. We're going to wait. We're watching the Spurs and the Kings. What's going on here? What do we got here? What do we got? Nothing much going on. Zach Collins is upset. He's upset. You guys know where I'm going with this. Just give me a second. Let's go find it. What's going to happen right here? Is this where he does it? Is this? Yeah, right there. Let's go back just a second here. They just threw Zach Collins out of the game, and what does he have to say? He gives a little, let's see it. Come on. Oh, flip the bird a little bit. Come on. Okay, so let's let's talk about that for just a second. Let's talk about Zach Collins for just a second. Look at this boy. What is he doing? First of all, oh, it cracks me up, man. So hey, like, you a bitch for that, man. I don't know. It's just like, come on now. It's just, you just don't need to. I feel like I don't need to explain that. It's just unnecessary. Just like, kind of like a little, like, come on, man. I don't know. I don't know why that bothers me so much, but it's just like, do something else about it then. Like, just go talk to him, like flipping him off or whatever. It just feels like such a Zach Collins thing to do. I just thought it was funny. Wanted to share with it. I got one more highlight for y'all this week. We got Celtics. We got Grizzlies. We're getting the ball out to Ja. A little pump here. Good little behind the back. Desmond Bane can't control it. We said Ja Morant don't dunk no more, right? He's like, nah, I can't dunk no more, but I can't help myself. Oh, my God. Ooh, Ooh, that's crazy. That is a crazy dunk. Now let's go back. Let's see this. Let me see this. Little clutch dunk like that. Oh man. So I'm not gonna lie to y'all. Not gonna lie to y'all. I've hit a clutch dunk like that before too on the baseline. Feels amazing. Feels absolutely amazing. But yeah, apparently John Morant does dunk. All right, last couple things to talk about from this week. Franz Wagner is hurt, unfortunately, and this is somewhat catastrophic potentially for the Magic. So let's pull up Franz Wagner for the year. While the 3-point percentage is still a struggle, right? He's still got to get that figured out and everything. Just talking like basketball wise for a second. The Magic are in trouble. The Magic are in absolute trouble right now. So we already don't have Banchero, who went down with a right oblique-like tear or something like that. Franz does the exact same injury. And Paolo's still like 1 to 2 weeks out from coming back. And he was playing awesome. Then Franz was playing awesome. And now he's down. The Magic, what do they do? Like, who do they go to? Because Franz has been carrying the load for them. Just doing everything on the ball, without the ball, right? He's playing good defense, all this other stuff. And now what do? It's going to be Suggs to some extent, right? I mean, efficiency's been a struggle for him this season. I still think he's playing out of position, and I think he needs to shave his head, but that's a whole nother thing that I don't need to talk about here. But I feel like this is a time where, like, Cole Anthony is going to have to become more of a player for you because he is, like, someone that can kind of go get his own shot. You need somebody that's going to be a scorer in some capacity. What does this mean for a guy like Anthony Black, who he doesn't tend to create for himself much either? Like, this team's just needs some scores. They already needed scores, and the two guys that could aren't there anymore, right? You're seeing guys like Kentavious Caldwell-Pope play a little bit better. He had another rough game like recently, but like I'm not sure I trust that that's going to be a great result at this point. You've got rookies that aren't really shooting very efficiently right now or anything. Like, is this a time where Jet Howard gets on the court a little bit more because he hasn't gotten many consistent minutes or anything? I don't know, but Magic are in trouble. Magic are in trouble. We already talked about the Jokic 56 points in a loss to the Wizards. Crazy, right? I don't need to talk too much more about this. And then just today. So normally I cover this stuff like Sunday through Saturday for a week, but this happened just a little bit before I started recording. But Brandon Ingram is injured. Brandon Ingram is injured after everything that's been going on this year with the Pelicans with injuries and everything. And Ingram was out earlier in the season for a little bit, and then he was back. And like, overall, Brandon Ingram's played a good season. He's a good basketball player, but he gets rid of his agent, and they're like, we don't know if we should extend him or trade him. What do we do? And now he's hurt again. Like, he's got like an ankle injury. He's going to be out for some weeks or something. It's like, oh man, what do you do with this? If you're the Pelicans, what a disaster. They've done such a good job of building this team, like, and putting good talent on the team, and it's just none of it can stay together. All the trainers should be fired at this point. All of them should be fired on the team. I don't want to actually call for anybody's job, but you guys know what I'm saying. It's just like, what's going on with this team? What do you do with this guy? Like, at this point, this feels like a sign to just trade him, right? Somebody will trade for him and take him. Like, somebody will. It's just, what do you do then? Do you do like a soft reset or something? Is Zion gone too? Because like, how many games do we have of Zion Williamson this season? Six games of this guy, and all I've seen of him this season is him getting that back tattoo or whatever. That really pissed me off for whatever reason watching it. Why were they making him like mashed potatoes in the background or something like that? I didn't understand. But no, it's incredibly frustrating, I have to imagine, if you're a Pelicans fan. You've got all this cool talent like a Herb Jones, right? You got a Trey Murphy, you got a DeJounte Murray, you got CJ McCollum. You have all these players, and it's just like, it's not coming together, and I don't know what you do about it. I'm genuinely very confused as to what you do with this situation, but it's a tough one, y'all. It's a tough one. But yeah, those are the news and highlights. Let's go talk about the rookies. All right, y'all, we're back here in our rookie report. For those of you that aren't familiar, we line it up like this because points per game is usually the best indicator as to who's going to win rookie of the season, so we line it up this way for a reason. I have added something over here for a minimum games played because that obviously plays a factor as well, but the rookies have actually been pretty healthy this season. You actually have to increase this all the way up to like 15 games before you eliminate anybody from this list, and it gets rid of Zach Edey and Kyle Filipowski from the list. As you'll see, I'll delete that, bring them back in. So you're really not losing much by talking about the games and stuff right now, and that's 15 games is still like a good section of the season so far. So just know that this list is probably pretty accurate in terms of like standings or something like that right now. So Jared McCain's still at the top of the list. He's actually been coming off the bench again, which is probably appropriate, right? He's still not like necessarily a positive for this team in comparison to them having their studs out there. So fair enough. Jalen Wells continues to help this team win basketball games for Memphis. The 3-and-D of it has been awesome, putting up double-digit points on a team that has a lot of really good scorers. Like, that's phenomenal, right? Like, obviously, he hasn't taken over. Well, he had one really good game against the Bulls this year. He hasn't taken over as many games as, like, Jared McCain has, but nonetheless, it's been awesome. Stephon Castle, he's playing elite defense. We all see that right now. Some of the playmaking is really good. Some of it's still a little wonky. He's a young guard, right? That's totally going to happen. I like that he's getting to play with Chris Paul. I'm sure he's going to learn a lot. Everything that I ever heard from this guy at UConn, because I got some buddies there, they're like, no, he's like the best dude, like world-class personality and everything. He's going to fit in really well with the Spurs. That's why his camp wanted him there so bad. So you got a true like Spurs player here that hopefully he's going to figure it out. The efficiency is still pretty in the garbage right now, but he's young. I'm not tripping about that right now, right? That was the only question coming in, so he's in line with expectations perfectly. This is fine. So you've got an interesting player. I'm curious what he does long term. We have to figure out the jump shot eventually, but for now, totally fine. Risa Shea, not playing like a ton of like minutes for being a starter, but still, solid contributing factor. Some games are better than others for him. I still feel fine about him long-term being like an NBA starter. He does have some really interesting skills. He's pretty athletic. I like his jump shot and everything. It's just not really quite coming together at this very moment. So I guess we'll see. The Atlanta Hawks also play a style of basketball that just wouldn't be played overseas. So it's very, very different. Dalton Knecht has solidified himself as just like, this is NBA starter Dalton Knecht at this point already. Really efficient, scores well, plays with or without the basketball. Defense is fine. Cool. Love to see it. Zach Edey hurt right now. Don't need to talk much about him. Now we get into the Wizards players. Alex Sarr, I just feel bad for him. The Wizards don't know what they're going to do with him. I just feel so bad. They don't know how to develop anybody. Bub Carrington has been a little bit better since like coming off the bench. He doesn't have quite as much pressure with like Brogdon on the court. Brogdon's like out again now though, and they're playing Jordan Poole back at the point guard. So is what it is, but still young point guard for the Wizards. It's a struggle right now. Yves Missy, he does his job, man. He does as well as I expect him to at this point. Get some rebounds, dunk the ball when you're underneath the rim. Cool. Can't complain at all. Keyshawn George, still hard for me to watch. Like, he doesn't really do anything when he has the basketball, in my opinion, and like the ability to like create his own shot just isn't really there. And that was anticipated for him coming into the NBA. It's just, I don't know. It's kind of annoying for me to watch, but he's also on the Wizards and he just doesn't stand a chance. So what are you going to do? Filipowski, again, gets minutes for some reason. Guys don't really tend to guard him, and now he's not really even hitting the three-pointer, so is what it is. Tristan Da Silva, they've kind of had to move him down the rotation a little bit. Now with Franz out, who I guess he'll probably slide right back up. But everything he does on the court makes sense. It's just not falling right now. And in terms of like Magic success, yeah, you have to move him back down like the rotation because of that. But in terms of like me evaluating him as a rookie, I'm always going to be a little bit harsher on guys like him just because he's a little bit older. But at the same time, like he is still a rookie, and so I don't want to trip about it too much. We want to reward the people that are playing well, right? And the Dalton Knechts of the world. But like I'm not going to trip about Tristan Da Silva, but I'll also say, yeah, you probably got to move him back down the list because even though he is getting himself open, he's making winning plays and stuff, he's still not converting. So it is kind of tough. Ryan Dunn, team's kind of keyed in on him, it feels like, and have pushed him back down. So we'll see if he can recapture any of that glory from the beginning of the season. Pell Larson, he just blends in as a Heat player. Good for him, right? Donovan Clingan, just need to start him. He is a defensive beast. And that's what I was saying. This guy's an immediate starter in the NBA, defensive beast. Good for him. Let's go through the list and talk about some of the other lottery picks. Reed Shepherd, still struggling, right? Unfortunately, it's just going to be what it's going to be. I'm sorry. Like, defensively, he's just not playable on that side of the court right now. So come playoff time, you probably just got to move him out of the rotation, and the three-point shot isn't even there at this point. So I don't know what you do with Reed Shepherd on this team. I've even seen some people say they want to trade Reed Shepherd, and I had so many Rockets fans like in my comments this offseason being like, how dare you say that about Reed Shepherd? He's going to be the GOAT. He's going to be the... I'm like, in my evaluation experience, no. Incorrect. But, is what it is. Who else do we want to talk about? Ron Holland. He still just plays the goofiest basketball I've ever seen. So is what it is. He's young. He'll figure it out. Tajon Salon, he's getting more minutes now and everything. The three-point shot's not falling like it used to, so that's unfortunate. It's not a great rookie class, y'all. Rob Dillingham, the Timberwolves just kind of don't want to play the rookies. Can't figure out why. I feel like it would at least help them a little bit. The Timberwolves are on like a 4-game winning streak right now, which like cool. That's cool, but it's partially because they've been playing certain lineups a little bit more, but surprise, surprise, you want some shooters on the court, but I still think they should play the rookies. Just get them some easy buckets. Let Terrence Shannon Jr. play. He had a gnarly dunk not too long ago. He just gets up and down the court so easily. And then Dillingham too, man. We know he can get buckets. Defensively, he's rough. Shannon's fine on defense. I don't know why he doesn't play, but Dillingham, yeah, it's unfortunate. Cody Williams is I was checking this morning, still the worst offensive player in the NBA, unfortunately. Second only to Isaiah Collier for the Jazz again. So that's tough. We knew he was going to be a project. Topic hasn't played yet. Carter hasn't played. Like, we could go all the way to, like, Khalil Ware, but the Heat don't see a need to play him right now either. So it's a rough rookie class right now overall. Like, some of these guys showing some nice potential up here. Like even Zach Edey, I think he's going to be really good in his role. Sarr's great defensively, right? After that, we get into a lot of question marks, but is what it is. Next year's class, looking great so far. So we go through the lows and the highs together. Anyway, let's talk about the Cup quick. Here we have it, y'all. We've got the NBA Cup brackets. So we've got games on Tuesday of this week, which I guess I'll cover. Maybe? Do you guys want me to cover that? I don't know. I don't know if those games are worth like covering, but I'm sure we'll talk about them in some capacity. And then we got some games on Wednesday as well. So we got the Thunder and Mavs, we got the Rockets and Warriors over here in the West, Bucks, Magic, Knicks, Hawks here. So I was hoping that like some like not as good teams would get in. Like the Hawks are like kind of that borderline team that made it in, but that should make for some fun competitive games, right? It's just like a small playoff series right here. These are some of the better teams that we have in the league right now. Unfortunately, excluding the Celtics and the Cavs, because the Hawks just like took their lunch money and stuff, which fair enough, good for them. But yeah, it is like a little playoff series, so I think that this is like kind of cool. Who do we think's gonna win? Well, the Magic are depleted now, so that's unfortunate. The Bucks, I mean, not feeling great about them. I feel like the Knicks probably come out of the East most likely. The Warriors, I feel like, are starting to fall apart a little bit. It's probably going to come down to whoever wins this one between the Thunder and the Mavericks. I feel like these are the best two teams running right now. But curious to hear what you guys think and who you think is going to win the Cup. And also, are you watching these Cup games? I know all my peeps in the Discord. Go join the Discord if you haven't already. Link is in the description, and we're just talking hoops on there 24/7. It feels like, but I know you guys will be watching on there, but anybody else, you guys tuning in for the Cup? Let me know. Let's go talk about standings. General standings in the NBA at this point: Cleveland, Boston, Magic, Knicks. Yep, they're still at the top. Hawks, 6 games in a row they've been winning, despite Trae Young looking like he's gonna like keel over at some point. At least in my opinion, that's what's going on. Jimmy Butler's been playing a little bit better. The Heat been winning some games. Good to see. The Bucks lost a couple in a row, so they're falling back down. But you know, I'm not tripping. I think they're gonna figure it back out. The Nets, man, Nets got to blow this thing up soon. Otherwise, they're not gonna get that lottery pick in a crucial draft year. But I'm not surprised that they're performing this well. They have so many just like quality basketball players, so it was gonna happen. Pacers just kind of pissed me off to watch at this point. Like, I don't know, I can't quite figure out what it is. It just doesn't work. My Bulls are here. Great. That doesn't make me feel any better. The Pistons have fallen out just a little bit. The Raptors, I've seen a lot of Raptors fans talking about like, yeah, let's just blow this thing up, trade Pirtle so that we know we'll lose games. I feel like if you trade Pirtle, it's just like pulling the drain out in a bathtub. It's all just going to completely fall apart then because he does so much for them. But RJ and Scotty look great. Hopefully quickly comes back at some point. The Sixers, kind of just a disaster. The Hornets are just crumbling without LaMelo Ball. If we can talk about Brandon Miller for just a second, they're just letting him chuck at this point. Brandon Miller had a great week, by the way. We can take a look at him here from this week. 28 points per game and stuff, 36% from the field. Bad here, but look at this plus minus through 3 games. And look, the Hornets are bad, right? But he is just chucking because he has nobody else to play with him right now. Where is Trey Mann right now? Is Trey Mann hurt? How many games has Trey Mann played in? Yeah, he's only played in 13. That's unfortunate. Man, I was enjoying watching Trey Mann play this year, so is what it is. And the Wizards suck, but hey, beat the Nuggets. Finally beat the Nuggets, but yeah, Wizards just sell the team, go move somewhere else, change the name, change everything, just forget the Washington Wizards ever existed. Moving on to the West, Thunder, really, really good. That's no surprise. The Mavericks, yeah, this team is so perfectly constructed. It's awesome. Clay hasn't been a perfect fit, but he's been fine for them this whole season. They are just winning. They should probably honestly have a better record, but they were losing in like heartbreaking fashion early in the season to really, really good teams. So this team's going to be a contender for sure. The Grizzlies look good, especially when Ja's out there. The Rockets, sometimes the youth shows itself a little bit, but yeah, you take Jalen Green and Jabari Smith Jr. out of the lineup and you put in Tari and Amen, all of a sudden this team is like light years above everybody else. So good for them. The Warriors, obviously, we're all a little bit skeptical about this. They just benched Draymond Green for Jonathan Kuminga, and I'm kind of confused why. If you take a look at Kuminga this season, like, it just hasn't really figured itself out. I know he is at least going to be like aggressive scoring wise and you need somebody to do it, but Draymond Green's had like a good season. Like, he's been good defensively still, like he's shooting the ball well and he plays well with Steph. So a little bit confused about that, but maybe they're trying to put him on display a little bit before they trade him. I don't know. Clippers, still curious to see what they do long term. The Wolves are the most confusing team in the NBA and the hardest team to watch, so it is what it is. If the Suns aren't healthy, they aren't good. Nuggets are slipping. They're slipping. So we gotta do something for them. We gotta do something. The Lakers look like they want to die. Like, why is that? I haven't seen a team not try this much in so long. They just aren't playing defense at all. And JJ Redick and LeBron look like they want to strangle the whole team. So like, I know a bug. God damn, I got it. I know the people that watch my channel like a bunch know how much I go at these bugs. There's like bugs in like our garbage room in our apartment complex or something, and because it's getting cold outside here in Minneapolis, they go up through the heat vents and stuff. So there's a bunch of like little fruit flies that come around every once in a while. So whenever they fly by, I get them. I get them bitches. Throw this guy in the trash can quick. But yeah, Lakers got to figure it out. Spurs, they're young. I'm happy with where they're at right now. Kings. No Kings players can hit threes, apparently. That's the rules. Kevin Huerter and Keegan Murray have just forgotten how to play basketball, apparently. Kings fans, is DeMar DeRozan not a good fit? I haven't watched enough Kings to make an opinion on that yet. Numbers-wise, he's fine, so what's going on? I'm curious. Trailblazers, they just piss me off. This whole team just pisses me off. The Jazz, they're doing what they need to do. They're trying. They're developing people. Good for them. Pelicans, just sad. That's sad for the Pelicans. But hey, you get Cooper Flag. That's a good excuse to go trade the whole team, right? So there you go. But hey, that's what happened last week in the NBA. I appreciate you guys for tuning in as always. Leave me a comment. If you do, I always respond to them. It's kind of my thing. But hey, appreciate you guys as always. We'll see you guys next Monday with this series again. And hey, talk to you later. Thanks so much. Bye.